Welcome to the Luxe Leap. My name is Réland Logan, and we chat about women consultants making bold moves, big wins, and the secrets to extraordinary branding. So I have a question. What does it really take to lead with purpose, pivot with confidence, and build businesses that stand the test of time? Today's guest knows firsthand. Sheila Slick is a seasoned business leader with over 25 years of experience spanning from education, technology, and entrepreneurship. As the co-founder of 4 businesses, a former SCORE chapter chair for Volusia and the Flagler counties, and the host of Milestone Moments in Business and Leadership, a podcast that helps Sheila bring a wealth of wisdom, strategy, and lived experience to every conversation. Her leadership style blends practical know-how with visionary thinking, making her a trusted voice for entrepreneurs, leading, navigating growth, change, and defining moments. Get ready for real talk on building, leading, and evolving with intention. Please welcome the powerhouse behind the business milestones and meaningful leadership, Sheila Slick. Hi, Sheila.
Hi, thank you for such a beautiful introduction.
Of course, of course. So I love to kick it off with everyone just to get a quick summary of how did your brand get started? What's the brief Reader's Digest version of it?
Well, so which one of the 4?
Whichever one brings your heart happiness. Like, how did you start?
Well, I guess if I look back, the first one, we didn't really think much about branding because the company was named Tops and we were manufacturing tops. So
wait, tops isn't the tops we wear, the tops we spin.
No, like all kinds of surfaces, the kind that you see on counters when you walk into an institution, commercial, kitchen counters. If it was a top, we'd manufacture it. So the company, which is, still working today, it's called Tops.
Oh, wow, that's kind of brilliant.
The second one was, the third one, you'll understand my branding mistake. The second one was a legacy company. It is a retail jewelry store, and my grandmother had built that out in one country and then moved to a separate country where we helped her not just launch it, but we were 3 partners, my mother, my grandmother, and I. And so we ended up having 4 different retail stores. And so the name became a big issue because we all wanted that same name. It represented legacy to us, but we had to, be a little different than the other ones in the other country. And now there are 3 different countries that all share part of the name. The third one, Slick Developers, happened when I learned how to code. This one it wasn't planned. It was before technology was mainstream, like today. I learned how to code and that turned into another company. And when I did that, I did it with an educational purpose. I was mother of 3 young children, which they're all adults now. And I thought this could be for them. So I named it Slick Developers. And not one child was interested.
Not one kid is a developer.
But I didn't want to sell it. I ended up selling some clients off because I felt like I was selling my own personal identity. So those are the first names. And then when I moved back to the United States and I incorporated here, I ended up using the term 5 milestones. And everyone always said, what do the 5 milestones mean? What does that mean? And so that's my secret that I can share later on with you.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Well, now I'm intrigued because I'm like, I don't think you have 5 kids. Now I'm just trying to do so much math in my brain over here. Well, as you look forward and you really think about, you've had all these brands, you've made all these pivots, you've changed countries, and you're back in the States right now. What was a pivotal moment in your brand journey, whether it's personal or all 4 businesses, that really defined where you are today?
5 milestones.
Oh, might as well tell us a story now.
All right. So life is defined by milestones. And in order to get from where you're at now to where you want to be, I broke that down into a 5-step framework. 5 represents change. 5 represents a lot of different things for me in a personal way. And I also was going to turn 50. And so I thought, this is a great way for this company to be my next chapter. What do I want that to be? And I was able to tie it in with the brand by breaking down the framework to get from point A to point B, whether it's a personal transformation or a business transformation in a 5 steps.
That's amazing. That's absolutely incredible. And since you've done that, like, what kind of transformations have you seen?
So where my passion really lies, and I don't know, I've always loved like the underdog, or maybe it's as a mother, you're always trying to nurture, the person that needs it most, so to speak. And so when I was chair and a certified mentor, where we mentored over 1,000 individuals and businesses that year, I always found that the transformations that inspired me the most were those where perhaps someone was retiring or in that stage of retirement where they had found a passion and they didn't just want to sit around their homes, but they also wanted additional income, like a side income. And you can't even go to the farmer's market and sell your crafts if you're not a business. At least here in our city and county, you
Same
need
here.
to go through those steps. And when you're dealing with the baby boomer generation, well, I learned how to code at 36, but technology is a lot more intimidating for them. So when you're able to help a person go from, I don't even know where to start in the business, 3 years later, asking them for advice on what apps they're using to document their videos and their processes on Instagram, because they went from not understanding social media and a simple thing like a hashtag to being able to set up their own online store in Shopify and create engaging videos and campaigns to be able to turn that into income.
That's absolutely incredible. So just giving them a new path in life, so to speak, versus just sitting at home. I don't even know if I have the capacity in my heart right now to retire, because I want to go, go, go. And I think I meet lots of people who still have that energy, older than my parents, who still just want to go and live life. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And the fact that you empower them to do so is so perfect. I love it.
Well, that's something my grandmother is still alive. She's 96, and she did not want to retire her. And when I ask her, what is the secret to life? She'll say, just always stay busy. And so if you planned it right and you've maybe worked your entire life and you're burnt out, maybe that's what's in retirement for you. But me, that I've been an entrepreneur since 21, I'm very passionate about what I do. It's part of who I am. And maybe what changes is just the direction of how and who I help sometimes. And I think that being an entrepreneur is part of, being adaptable and being able to pivot. So we'll see. With AI coming in, I've got like the wheels turning. What are these next 10 years going to be like with these new technologies?
I think they're going to change our world in beautiful ways. I know there's a lot of negative Nancys out there, but I think it's going to change the world in really spectacular, beautiful ways. And to watch it unfold in real time, I'm really grateful. But I like change. Kind of live off of it.
I've always loved change too. So my master's degree, when I moved back to the States in 2018, that wasn't quite as planned, right? Like I'd probably be moving back to Florida this year because my youngest is going off to college. And that's when we had considered moving back from overseas. Yeah. But life happens. And it was the one time I wasn't prepared for that change. And I had always embraced change. I thrive on change. I love moving everything around because it just feels fresh and new. But that was a bit different because it was out of my control. It was unexpected. And I went back to school. And I was going back for an MBA. I ended up with a master's in leadership. Amazing. And when I say leadership, you're probably like, oh, where are you looking to work? Organizational leadership. And I was able to use that as a change management like degree, so to
Yeah.
speak, and apply all of those principles to my own adapting, to change. Because it was easier to move overseas at 21 than it was to move back at 40 in my 40s. You're
With
not as,
like 3 kiddos, like that's a lot. That's a big move.
yes, you're not just changing your life, you're changing, the entire
Others.
family. But
Yeah.
sometimes you have to, step back and reflect in order to make the best decisions for you and your family. So I do believe in reflection. That is step number 5 of my framework. And now that the children, I call them children, even though they're young adults, they've graduated, I'm asking them for feedback. They have broken glass ceilings in our family. So yes, I ask them for advice. I'm like, wow, how did you discover that? Like that would, just didn't even cross my mind when I was in high school. But then I make sure to ask them, so did we make the right choice, right? Because now it's
Yeah.
a we looking back, so that I'm at peace and they're at terms, that everything worked out for the best.
Oh, I
And
love it.
then I always say, how could I have been, a better parent, or how can I be a better parent moving forward? Because now I'm in a support role. They're young adults, right? So I'm
They
always
are.
asking them for feedback.
They are. I love you call yours kids, and our family, the siblings who are the same age as your kiddos, we still refer to as the babies. So don't worry. They're forever as all adults known as the babies. So at least your kids are kids.
Well, the
So
youngest just had prom, and he's wearing the tuxedo, and his date girlfriend's just spectacular. And you do want to call them babies, but then that may just slip out at the wrong moment as
at the
well, and you end
wrong
up
time,
embarrassing
but you
them.
just remember when they were babies. Like, we don't know what else to say. When I was graduating high school, I think one of my siblings was like 3. So they were just babies. It's fine. It's totally fine. All right, getting back on subject here, because we all know that I can go off on 500 tangents. Let's look towards the future. What are your long-term goals for expanding your brand's impact right now?
So I am, once again, remember, the 5 milestones was approaching the 50s, and I'm in a pivotal moment. And my children say it best: you no longer have to worry about all of us. This time is for you. And so I started exploring with that back in November. And I started writing a book, because that's been on my list. My book right now is about 350 pages. So I think that I really need to either break it in half and just accept the fact that that is getting published. And people say, well, why do you want to write a book? I think writing a book is a great way to not just leave a legacy, to be able to share some of that knowledge that perhaps other people can find helpful. But it also serves as me feeling that, this is how I got to where I've been. And with that in mind, I had wanted, the book has helped me put the 5 milestones principle, which the framework comes after a lot of reflection on my own life stories, my personal inventory. Where are my skills? How have I helped others? Along with the education and the science behind the Master of Science degree. And it's been like peeling an onion for me. So I'm getting that clarity, but what I really want to do moving forward is be able to help more people rather than so much one-on-one. And I do that often through training, through public speaking. But public speaking, for example, sometimes requires travel. So my youngest will be in college in May, and I have 3 different speaking opportunities. One is in Miami, which is back in the big city where I was raised, about 6 hours away. So I'm really excited that I'm opening myself up to other opportunities to see how I can continue to make a positive, impact on others' lives, and always focusing on helping them economically, right? Whether it's through their business or self-employment.
That's so incredible. Like I love everybody who comes on the show who has a book. So when it's published, you let me know. I will be first in line. It'll live in my handy dandy pile of books that's like always within reach, literally. And I will talk about it all the time. I love it. So you just say the word and let us know when it's live and we will let the world know. So just do it.
I can't wait. Thank you so much for that support. I did double down on my own podcast. I now have 2 episodes a week.
Nice.
And it's been a great way to just channel a lot of, what I'm working on in the book. And we'll see what happens with the podcast as well. So these spaces are so wonderful.
That's incredible. And I agree with you. I think being on podcasts, it helps gain a lot of clarity on what people want, what people need, and just also being able to put those stories out into the world. Because a lot of times we think through talking, and it's a powerful way to do so. It's a powerful medium. So as you're thinking about the book, you're thinking about speaking and really leaning into the podcast more. How will your marketing strategy adapt to support your brand's growth here in the future?
Well, that's where I would need to come to an expert like you so that I could talk it through and be like, Réland, am I on the right track, right?
The right track?
As entrepreneurs, we wear so many different, hats. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you need to understand the importance of collaborating with someone whose expertise is focused on one specific concept. And I haven't been on marketing and branding. I mean, I can walk someone through it and get them to think about it, but I would prefer to reach out to someone like you who is laser focused on that one specific thing. So yes, that's where I'm going. I do want my champagne flute.
Oh, yes. Okay. So everyone, I have also been on Sheila's podcast, Five Milestones. It was absolutely incredible. But we went through my flute process for how to write your website copy, because I see a lot of rough websites out there in this world. And so there are ways intentionally to market yourself. Sheila and I can attest, not everyone's way is the same way. YouTube University is great if it works for you, but it doesn't work for all people. So I'm going to leave everybody with that little nugget. You have to know yourself. You have to know where clarity comes, and then you can make a strong strategy to move forward in a way that is in alignment with you. Unfortunately, most of the internet is not going to be in alignment with you.
No, but it's also really important to have that niche and know who you want to serve.
Yes.
Because, you can't please all of the people all of the time. No. And it's really important, though, to just understand that no matter, how well you want to do things, sometimes it is better to reach out to someone who is more experienced or perhaps has already walked that path. It'll save you time, money, and it'll be a lot more effective. So I even have for my podcast, I would have probably never launched the podcast if it wasn't because of my podcast coach. And now I am able to help people with the technical part. We gave birth to a podcast yesterday. I'm helping someone give birth to a podcast on Tuesday. And these are people that want to do it, but rather than go through YouTube University, they'll say, do it with me.
Yeah.
And I will help them through the setup just so that they too can share their voice and walk through the strategy. But that's about as far as I get. You want more strategy with the podcast, or I will send you to a podcast coach.
Right? Like it's really, you save so much money if you pay the tax up front. That's how I usually refer to it. So you can keep trying, spinning in a circle until finally you fall down because you're dizzy, and then you have to get back up. Meanwhile, there's probably about 5 coaches around you just watching you to see which way you're going to fall. Because at the end of the day, you have to make that choice for yourself. And choosing to spin is a choice.
Yes, even here as a business consultant helping people start their businesses, I've seen people working as consultants and maybe 2-3 years in business, and perhaps they forgot to get these business tax receipts. I'm like, well, you're illegally operating if you skip that simple step, right? And sometimes you may incur in fines and so forth. And they didn't think, to consult with someone. They just thought, well, I'll ask my Facebook group, right? Where, anyone that goes in a Facebook, they'll say, well, what do I do? Or even with these,
oh Lord,
with, there was this new one time that you have to declare who the beneficiaries financially are. And I go into some of these Facebook groups, for example, and you had people complaining, well, I didn't hear about that. So first question is, well, where are you getting your information from? Because this had been shared and shared and shared. So if you didn't hear about that, it's time to reflect and think, what else haven't I heard about? Maybe you're not even properly, legally established if you weren't getting any of these notifications, or perhaps you don't have an accountant or a bookkeeper.
or
They
your
could have
address is
shared
incorrect.
that. But, from someone in my spot, I just kept seeing it. I shared it on my LinkedIn very often. I saw the cities, the counties, it was all over the place. So I'm wondering, did she just rely on Facebook? So it's, your responsibility, if you're going to do it all on your own, also make sure that you're always compliant. And it could also mean being on top of trends or new technologies, because all that changes. So it's a lot to take on by yourself.
I agree. And you need a team, even if they're not employees, you need a team, a board of directors in your mind, if you will, but you need a team to help you push through. And, you need someone like Sheila who can coach you. You need someone like me who can get things in alignment and get you the right path forward. And you need an accountant, unless you are an accountant. But even then, I'd say you still need an accountant. Double check, checks and balances. There are people that you need in your orbit to help you grow. And it's really hard to do it alone. It's so hard to do it alone. So just choose not to do that. That's simple. All right, Sheila, I got 2 fun questions for you. Okay? In all seriousness aside, I ask these of everyone, and I need to know, what does a day living a luxurious life look like for you?
Depends on the decade, but right now it involves luxury travel. Ooh. I'm going from going to Disney with the 5 kiddos, and yesterday at the Chamber of Commerce, I met a travel advisor, and it was like a calling. She sat in front of me with this romantic luxury getaways. So she had me at hello, and I thought, I don't even need to plan this vacation, because I know how the travel agents work. They earn the commission anyway from the different suppliers. And so I was like, you've got yourself a client. Can we look at Greece and Alaska, right? So that right now is where I'm at. I'm also thinking retaking a hot air balloon. I had wanted to do that in Sedona with some champagne, but I want to, I've been married 30 years almost to my sweetheart. He's partner of our first company. And I think it's a time to also nurture the relationship, like 2 kids together. So that's what it looks like right now. Would be some luxury travel where I don't have to worry about
planning it
and babysitters and kids, food and activities. And
oh, that sounds nice. I'm a long ways away from that, but I guess in my season, I'm just really grateful. Whenever I ask Grayson, we have this question we always ask, why do you love me? Just trying to think of things that are different every single time. We have a lot of conversations. I have kid conversation cards next to me. And he always goes, Mom, you take me on the best vacations. You really think them through. And I'm like, man, can't wait till somebody can think them through for me. But I will be watching you from the ground in Sedona. But if you go to Sedona and take that hot air balloon ride, There's also this really cool zip lining park not too far from Sedona, and it's over a wildlife refuge. Like, it's really cool. So you should do that and then go visit Jerusalem, because that's also a really cool place. Might have just told you that I grew up in Arizona without saying I grew up in Arizona. So I love it. Sedona is one of my favorite places in the world. It's absolutely amazing. Now that this just became a travel ad for everybody, also visit Slide Rock if you go to Sedona. Okay, travel ad over. But last question for you. In one word, what is your primary motivation in business?
Purpose.
Why?
Because it's what motivates you when you don't want to get out of your bed. If you have your why, your reason, and it gives you purpose, then it's not work.
That's incredible. Well, Sheila, where can they find you if they want to connect with you?
My website is Sheila Slick, SLICK.com. And since this is a podcast, you can tune in to milestone moments in business and leadership, and tune in so that you can, hear your interview along with other entrepreneurs and leaders that are making an impact.
I absolutely love it. Well, thank you again for being on the show. It was such a joy to have you here, just meet you and get to know you in these last few weeks. And I'm really grateful you took some time out of your day to make this happen. So everyone, have a beautiful weekend. And we look forward to hearing how you also are taking Luxe Leaps in your world. And we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.